I'm going to tell a little story about CPS and what they do. Man, I've seen so many of these videos, and I was researching it, what my rights are, and, what I can do to, man, in juvenile court, you have no rights. I mean, you do, but you don't. You do, but you don't. Now, here's a sworn affidavit written by Gina Tilley. I'll pull up Gina Tilley's phone number. I'll add Gina Tilley's info to the info part. Okay, what's her number? I can't tell. Can you tell me?
509
509
703
703
2668.
2668. Her name is Gina Tilley. She put in a sworn affidavit. Right? It's a bogus affidavit. I mean, I've read a lot of corrupt affidavits. I'm not trying to hurt the other individual, but his name is James. What's his last name?
I don't know.
But they put in these declarations because they don't want to go on the stand, right? And I guess in a way that's their prerogative, right? But it's not. They went into my house uninvited, without a search warrant. And what are my rights? I mean, how do you defend? You know what I mean? They show up with guns, you know what I mean? And they don't even have a search warrant. But they tell you, hey, we have the law on our side. And they really don't. But they say they do. You know what I mean? And you can't argue with them. I mean, you can. Legally, you can. You can argue with them. I mean, it's even in your best interest to argue with them.
James Hately.
James Hately. Yeah, I can't afford a filing system, so I keep everything in a paper bag. It works. Not very good. I would go in my house, but my cat will attack me. Trying to find the sworn affidavit.
Okay, these keep them like that because they separating it.
Oh, okay. Right here is the declaration of James Hately. He goes, James Hately, in for the County Superior Court of Juvenile Division. Declaration of James Hately. I, James, and here's the... On January 12th in Walla Walla, Youth and Family Services received a courtesy request from Spokane, D.C. office requesting an immediate response to the parents. The courtesy request included Spokane Dependency court order placing the infant into protective custody. Prior to making contact with the family, the court order was reviewed and the dependency concerns about the child. Columbia County Sheriffs received a copy. The department and law enforcement initiated contact at a local motel. The motel manager provided the key if the parents failed to respond. See, that's not how it happened, but look, we weren't even home. We were somewhere else. You know what I mean? So it goes, the department received the key. The parents were not home, and the deputies unlocked the motel room. The room appeared to be occupied, but they went into my house They violated the Fourth Amendment. But this is their affidavit right here. He goes, Walla Walla continue to make contact. In reviewing the dependency petition, the department has concerns. Right? They say because I record the police, that's a concern. I also live in Donald Trump country. I'm a Joe Biden, you know, I'm a Democrat. I'm an independent Democrat, like, you know, what's that little guy's name? The independent? Sanders. I'm like Sanders, you know, Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders. But no, I mean, straight up. I mean, can I see your phone?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put out some other names because I have no... These are the text messages with an attorney in question. What's your attorney's name?
Christian.
Christian. Right, mine is Stacy or something like that.
Kim, I think.
Kim. But he goes, this is RCW 13. I've been reading this, and it states that we have the right to ask about why we're not getting certain. I mean, they haven't even proven their allegations, but but yet these affidavits that the court is relying on is truth. We have the same right to present countering arguments. My whole point is they're supposed to try as hard to make us look good as they are to show that we're not good parents. That's in the law also. Remember, the whole thing is reunification, right? Where are their doctors saying that they have untreated mental health problems? Do they have even one doctor that can testify to that? Right? Her response is, we will chat more tomorrow, but ultimately your rebuttal is your testimony. It's better than affidavit. Right? But they don't tell you that when you get on the stand, right, man? And this is why there's two distinct differences between criminal law and civil law. Right? But they tell you cannot plead the fifth they tell you this, right? You can't plead the fifth in a civil case. And then I'm like, then how do they plead the fifth in civil cases in the congressional floor in Washington, D.C.? What? I don't have the same rights because I'm poor? Right? But they tell me I'm not allowed to plead the fifth, that they want me to get on the stand. And I'm like, man, it's not in my best interest to get on the stand because you're going to ask me, do I like cops? And I'm going to have to tell you because it's the truth. I don't like cops. They're going to ask me, well, do you have an issue with CPS workers? I'm going to tell them, darn straight I do. They're liars and they're baby snatchers. I have a 10-point presentation right here. Right? It's the best presentation in the whole world. You know, you're supposed to keep your stuff straight, but unfortunately, my wife makes it hard. Yep, it's all my wife's fault. It really is. You know, they kidnapped my kid, man, all because I filmed the police. There's more to it than that, but that's the initial reason. Because they feel that asserting my rights is confrontational. Let's get back to Gina Tilley's affidavit. Okay, this is what they took our child on. Oh, not this one. I, Gina Tilley, declare as follows. I am a social worker representing the Department of Child and Youth and Family. I am familiar with the above entitled case and I make this declaration in its capacity. I mean, I am assigned to the sibling of this child. Yeah, they've taken two. This is my second child they've taken. Right? I have a job, but they accuse me of what?
Domestic violence.
Have we ever even had an argument?
No.
I mean, my wife is the whole reason I exist. Without her, my life is nothing. But they, this is what they say. Their concerns noted that Mr. and Mrs. Pena have a history of drug use, which is bullshit. We don't even do drugs. But yes, they do. They call everybody. Yeah, everybody, and it's ironic because you can't get away from it, right? But they go, and here's the crazy part, right? She goes, they're concerned that know that Mr. and Mrs. Pena have drug use, concerns that the parents' capacity and ability to care for themselves and the infant, and a history of transient lifestyle. Avon's cord stat revealed that there was in his system at birth. Bullshit. After delivery, Avon presented with, he was born 6 weeks early. That's why they came into her life on that issue. Mr. Conde reported being they're saying that I told them this. They're saying Mr. Conde reported that he's being a confrontational person, although he was choosing not to be at that time. This is what they say I said, but they called this aggressive talking. But he was choosing not to at the time. Hospital security reached each parent and found a history of Mr. Conde being violent during his arrest. Mr. Conde had been in prison for 17 years related to assault. It is found that Mrs. Pena also had a history, and these are all lies. They just fabricate this shit, right? The hospital removed Mr. Conde from the pediatric. During the removal, Mr. Conde became escalated Mr. Conde grabbed a hold of Mrs. Pena. This never happened, not even once. We're gonna fast forward to the fun part, right? There have been numerous. This is what Gina Tilly says. There have been numerous incidents where Mr. Conde has been confrontational and aggressive with DCYF staff, visiting providers, and service providers. Or of note, there are a total of 14 unusual incident reports that are directly related to the anger outburst. Okay, so I'm at a visit one day, right? And I talked to my son. He's not even 7 months old. And you go, oh, mi hijo, tú eres muy lindo, tú eres mi vida, right? Now, they try to tell me it's against the law for me to speak to, I'm in a visiting agency because I can't bring my son home. So these people tell me it is against the law for me to speak in Spanish to my child. And I'm like, you're telling me that's your guy? You believe that to be true? She goes, that's in our policy. So I tell this visiting lady, you're telling me your bosses put in a contract that it's forbidden for parents to speak to their children in Spanish. Well, yeah, I go, so you're telling me your bosses are so dumb when they drew up the charter for their company, because these are government contracts held by CPS. And I can tell you this, man, I have a 171 IQ. They don't want to let me represent myself in court for a lot of reasons. And I'll tell you about CPS. You do not want a lawyer, right? But you can have a lawyer on standby that can help you with what you don't understand of the law. But in truth, if you have your lawyer ask questions, they're going to tell you, oh, we can't ask the case manager how she feels about you guys. Why not? It's just not allowed. Could I ask that question? Well, you could ask any question that's legal. I go, why can't you? Oh, it would be unethical. I mean, they say stupid stuff like this, man. I mean, this is what they say. Mrs. Pena has been offered services through referrals. So they want my wife to take domestic violence classes. And she's like, but I've never been in a domestic violence situation. Well, we just need you to take an assessment. Why won't you just take the assessment, they say? Because it's a violation of my Fourth Amendment? Well, then they get it court ordered. It is insane. I mean, one of the elements they're saying on January 20th, at a contested fact-find hearing occurred, the court noted several concerning incidents going on, mental health issues, aggressive, right? And they say that because I speak to them in a manner that says, hey, you will respect my rights. And I tell them that. And everything on video, right? I videotape anytime I talk to them, man. You can go check, right? I have nothing to hide, right? The man, the myth, the legend, right? I have this great ability, man, to be able to twist a cop up really quick. And it's like, so you want my ID? Why do you want my ID? Just like San Joaquin Wood or Lackluster or any of these guys, right? And I got a million videos out there. And my problem is I try to explain myself to stupid people, right? Like I told the sheriff yesterday, I went and talked to the sheriff. Oh, man, because I got lots of phones. I gotta go to my That's me. I'm on. Whoa, wait a minute. Okay, I called dispatch the other night. And what part of the skills, and we had a pipe break, and whatever. That being said, they violated my house, man. I'm saying, what are my rights, man? If they're gonna keep harassing me, yes. So, like I said, I am not. You went into my house without a search warrant. This is the sheriff. He called me up at. And they don't want war with me. I don't want war with them, but they stole my kid. Right? And they're like, fuck, man. And this is being recorded. I'm live streaming because, sir, I don't know where else to go. You know what I mean? I came to you and told you what my predicament was, right? You know my situation, and I'm telling you, sir, that they went into my house without a search warrant, right? Like I asked dispatch, right? If I was at home and say I didn't want to open the door because the law said unless they have a search warrant, I never had to open the door, but I wasn't at home, sir. I was at the doctor's office, right? So they invaded the sanctity of my home, right? They didn't have a search warrant. They went to Boo, the owner of the Blue Mountain Motel, and they told him that they had a search warrant and that they told him that he had to, and that's in the sworn. They swore to this under affirmation of truth right here in Columbia County, right? James, I can't remember. James, what's his last name? Well, that being said, he said under affirmation of truth that they went into my house. They stated on an affidavit of even what they. I'm talking to the sheriff here. That they told the landlord that they had a warrant. They did not have a warrant, sir. So how did they go into my house without me being there, sir?
I was not there, so let me gather some information. Who is it in this affidavit that you're talking about? Who is it that did or said that was the CPS that was doing this?
Yes, it was James what? Rogers. James Rogers from the local CPS office out of Walla Walla.
Rogers, okay. So did they, no, I'm just having to ask a question because obviously I was not there. And I just need to gather some information so I can try and understand the circumstances. Did they have a court order to remove the child from you?
They had a pickup order, but the pickup order did not give them the right to enter my house.
Okay, like I said, I need to find out what kind of order. Like I said, I'm sorry, I wasn't there, so
so I've been advised by my family. I go to court on Monday, right? And we've had 2 weeks. They're supposed to give us a hearing within 72 hours. It's been over 2 weeks, right? We didn't waive our hearing, but they weren't ready. And our lawyers weren't prepared, right? So because we're there at court and nobody else is ready, we were ready. We had all our paperwork. We had our evidence to present. But because we're not the court, we're not lawyers, they said, no, we're going to postpone this. And we're like, well, wait a minute. But what do? It's like, hey, man, you can visit your kids on weekends. But going on. No, and that's what they're saying.
So actual signed court order from a judge?
And I kid you not, Sheriff. When they showed up, right, they just handed me a bunch of paperwork, right? Now the irony of it is I had paperwork that superseded that, saying that case was dismissed, right? But because you know what, I trust you guys. I have to rely on your honesty, right? So they presented these papers, right? And that the papers that they presented to me, the action had been dismissed. And that was my fault. I should have never ever let CPS. I don't care how bad they say it's going to make you look. What makes you look worse. Now, say you love your family so much, man, and that you'll do anything. You'll even die for them. Right? And people with guns show up at your door. And you're saying, hey, show me to be a drug addict. I'm just saying, man, in criminal court, man, I have rights. In juvenile courts, you have no rights. If they tell you, because you can't even go into open court unless the judge okays it. So they make a bunch of rules for you. And I mean, I have over 10,000 pages of court records that tell me what and what I can't do, even though I haven't done nothing. They've accused me of domestic violence. And they accused me of domestic violence. So, right, this is not a good show for them because the sheriff told me that he would look at it and then we could file the complaint, right? Because right here is that they admit, why did the manager give you the key? Under what pretext? Did they have the right? And I mean, if my
They have to do that, and if your rights were violated by them.
Well, we know. Yeah. Right, because if you look, right, it even says CPS has no, and neither do you guys. You have no legal authority to go into somebody's house without a so really, I have to throw up a sheet to get you guys to come talk to me, and I don't want to do this, right? Because first off, man, what, you know, I mean, bad blood happens between me and somebody else. No, but at the end of this, okay, this is Officer Robbie Peterson.
You know what? He actually followed your honor's word. That means you want to not pray for you guys before you go?
Yes, love it.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for your mercy and your grace, Lord. And we're standing in faith right now with this family, Lord. You know the situation. You know the ins and outs of it. Father, you know if there's any wrong that's been done. Father, we stand in faith for your justice, for your peace, and for your life to be in this situation. Anything that would hinder that from happening, we stand against that in Jesus' name. I speak peace over this man right now, over his life, his children. Speak peace over this woman right here. Father, we claim your life and your love, Lord, that they have for their children. And we thank you for it right now. In Jesus' name. Amen. You're off.
This is a police officer. His name was Robbie Peterson. And I'm not, you don't understand, man. Right now I'm going to say like I'm a black man that went into AKville. You know what I mean? With nothing other than saying, hey, man, I'm an American and I'm being persecuted, man. I know you guys are Aryan brothers, man, but your blood is just American as mine. And imagine those Aryan nations standing up for me. That's what it felt like. This cop's like, and did you hear what he said? I'm going to try to present that in open court. I'm going to try to present, man, that even before they came and took my kid, that I was at the police station saying, man, I'm being what do you do when they show up at your house, man? I got my baby. I have to go visit my kid, right? So we got to buy, we have to buy all this stuff, right? Because it's our responsibility as parents, right? But we provide all of this, man. And it sucks, man, because we're in a room. Oh, if you guys don't mind the journey. Where's Facebook? This is my beautiful, the state. The state has custody of my child.
How do you? Let's see what they think.
Who has custody? No, but that's the irony of it, right? Everybody keeps telling me, just do what they tell you. And I'm like, man, cops tell me all the time. They have the right to demand my ID, even though I haven't broken the law, right? I have full coverage insurance on my car and a driver's license, right? And it'd be like me going up to you in your car and you haven't even broken the law and asking you for your driver's license and you present it to me. And then I try to tell you, well, hey, man, you know what? I don't know what the goddamn state was thinking. You dumb motherfucker shouldn't have a driver's license. Well, it's not his job. He can't tell you or me because I have a driver's license. So nobody can teach me how to drive because I've already been accredited to drive my car in the state of Washington.
Oh.
And so to me, it's like when CPS says, hey, we just want you to take a mental health evaluation. And I tell them, hey, I want you to take a mental health evaluation too, because I think you're fucking crazy. Now, I asked this cop the other day, it's on video, what's the definition of insanity? Hey, just take the shot, you won't get COVID. Okay, so you take the shot. Oh, wait, we fucked up, man. You still got to wear your mask. Because even though you're immune to it, you can still be a super spreader, right? I live in a little city named Dayton, Washington. My CPS, the state of, oh no, the lady that has my child, her name is Katie Shepard. She lives in Spokane, Washington, right? She's hurt my child, both of them, right? I'll show you a picture. And they say this is normal. Right? And it's not normal. My brand new baby came in with scratches on her. Now, if you were to borrow me your brand new car and it didn't have one scratch on it, and it came back with a scratch on it, how would you feel? Oh, shit, it was just an accident, man. The insurance will pay for it. Yeah. Yes, she is. She's no, she's what do you call it? No, she's she got certified to be a foster. She can't have children. So she wanted a baby and she's been waiting for a baby, right? Because she had 4 other children in her house. Right, but they're all foster parent. So in that, because she's a foster parent, right? But she wanted our son. She's had him since he was born. But could you pull up one of the good videos of him with me and you?
Well, I was gonna show something else.
No, go ahead. Show whatever you want. We're being maliciously harassed, man, and what is the only thing that I can do? Civil disobedience. Right? Be civil and defy. To say, hey, you're violating my constitutional rights. And if you have reason, if you can they can't terminate my rights. They're not even trying to terminate my rights. They can't. Because they got to prove me and my wife unfit.
This is what they used to feed him. I don't know now, but they said it was the way.
They sent that
To visit.
that's what they feed my son with. Right?
But the judge said, oh, it was an accident.
They said it was an accident and right? I mean, he's got a scar on his arm. He's been abused, man. What can I say? My kid has been abused. It looks very dirty, you know, and that's why we started bringing our own supplies. Here's my son showed up at visit with that on his arm. How does that? He was only 7 months old at that time. How did my son show up to a visit like that? You know what I mean? And I put in complaints. I've done everything that I can, man, short of what can I do? I can't go take my kid because it's kidnapping. Right? All I can do, man, is rely on my lawyer, the court, and even DHSH. I have to rely on them. Right? But they want to take my kid because this lady can't. Now, not only does she have one of my children, this is how I got to visit my son. And that boy, does he not love me?
I'll get a different one. Watch, I'll find a different one.
He loved me so much. He does. He loves me. And he's mine. Jessica Dyson, the Assistant Attorney General for Spokane, Washington, the biggest liar in the world. Michelle Woodworth, Diane Barnes. Who else? Gina Tilley. Man, what can I do, you know? That is my son.
His face.
I'll put my dinosaur away.
He's such a mean little kid, man. He's mean and awesome.
Back up.
That's the story of my life, and I don't know, man. It's gonna become an everyday theme, man, because you know what? I'm really good at talking. We go to court on Monday. It's a shelter care hearing. We're probably not gonna get because I'm gonna postpone it, man. Here's the crazy thing, man. They're bringing it. They don't have any doctors or anybody that'll testify other than social workers, and they want to testify via affidavit. That way, they can't be questioned. I mean, our lawyers were gonna allow this to happen, and I'm like, oh hell no, you're not. And they're like, well, you don't need to call witnesses. And I'm like, why wouldn't we call witnesses, man? Why can't we call the doctors that were there? Oh, well, we don't do that. And I'm like, what do you mean? It says right here in the paperwork, we're allowed to present evidence. They don't want to let me do any of it. They don't want me to show the pictures of how well I take care of my son. Videos. Oh, but yet they say because I spoke Spanish, that was a violation of visiting policy because I spoke Spanish in a visiting room.
Gina's gonna be there on
Zoom.
Yeah, video.
But
not in person.
I don't know, man. I just I would hope for prayers, and you know what? Share me out so people hear my story. Maybe some. I'm trying to find a TV company, man, that'll take my crazy ass story, man. I mean, we have. They say we're drug addicts, man. We don't even do drugs. They say I beat my wife, man, but yet they don't have anybody that'll testify to that. Thank you, guys.